This game is amazing. Just look how shiny it is. I loved this game when I was a kid, but not many people like it now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a hated gem. Zelda 2 is a very special game, personally, for me. I knew going into this that it was going to be exceedingly hard for me to be objective at all, because when most people say how they had that moment, especially now with all the 30th anniversary of the original Zelda, for me that was Zelda 2. I probably beat Zelda 3 first and then came back and beat Zelda 2, but I love this game. It's so ingrained in me that it's like people with Zelda 1 where they just know which bush to burn, which wall to bomb. I just know this game backwards and forwards. I love the music in it. I love the side-scrolling style. It's probably one of the earliest examples of an action RPG that I can think of. I hear everyone say that it gets very difficult very quickly, and for me that always confuses me because right after the first palace you're supposed to go to the Death Mountain and get the hammer. That's not what you're supposed to do. I don't know, maybe it's what you're supposed to do, but that's not what I did. I always went to the Swamp Temple after the first palace. Now, I know some people will say, well, the Swamp Palace is still just as tough. But the Octorocks in the swamp give you 10 experience each. This is probably why I never had a problem with the game. In 8 minutes of grinding, you can get yourself up to where you can go through Death Mountain no problem. And that right there is kind of the biggest no-brainer I have, that when people talk about how Zelda 2 is so hard, it's not. It's not. On the flip side, okay, I can understand people playing an action platformer aren't used to that, but this is an RPG type Zelda. So I'm used to that kind of thing. I've played enough RPGs to get used to grinding, and grinding for 5 minutes, I'm sorry, that's not a problem with me. So you go through Death Mountain. It is a little bit of a maze. It's just hard for me to not know exactly where to go, but I know where to go. You can look up a strategy guide if you want to know where to go, and it's all just it's very smart. There's not a lot of wasted space in this game. For instance, when you try to find the third temple in the town, it'll tell you, hey, there's at the king's tomb, walk south. In the middle or something like that, or walk south the king's tomb, and then you look on the map and there's a giant square with one cross in it. Oh, that's the king's tomb. Walk south. Okay, walk south from that. Ooh, and then you fall into the passageway which leads to the temple. Now it can be a little cryptic with the magic men and the trainer guys, but they tell you in one of the first speech bubbles that in every city there is a guy who will give you magic. So that should lead you to believe, like, okay, you know, where do I go? Where do I go? Yes, okay, yes, that's not a good system. I'm just so familiar with it, but yeah, I can see how that's BS. Also, with finding Bagu, that's kind of just a random luck job. But in that same forest, there are random screens that you enter for no reason. And in this style of game, when that happens, it happens a couple of tiles, then you're thinking, oh, well, maybe there's something hidden here, and then you find the house that way. And it's just very cleverly designed so that you can get through it. Now, is it without faults? No. I mean, I was powering through it. It took me about probably 7 hours to beat from beginning to end, and I knew exactly what to do up until the final temple. I got lost a little bit, but before that, I could figure out everything pretty easily. And it's a good game. I don't understand why it gets so much slack for being tough when it's easy to power level yourself. This is a type of game that if you play it and you don't cheat, or you just get familiar with how it works, it'll make you a smarter player in general. And I think that's one of the things I really still loved about it, and still love about it now, is that kind of, the way it teaches you to think about a game. Which nowadays we don't have that. We have so many open worlds where there's this wasted space here and there, and an argument everyone always says is, well, they were limited by what they could make back then. Ah, shut the hell up. No one cares if they were limited by what they could make. They didn't think in that terms. They thought, what can we put in? What can we put in? Not, oh, we can't put, like, no, shut up. Shut the hell up. Once you get the downward slash, oh man, the game opens up so much. That's probably one of my all-time favorite attacks in a game, and when they brought that into Smash Brothers back in the day, that was one of the things that made me love Smash Brothers. Like, oh my god, I got the downward slash. Because the downward slash it's not been in another Zelda game to the same extent. That thing was overpowered as hell. In a genre where you're so used to platforming and jumping on people's heads, just be able to hold down and just wreck house, that was amazing. Pro strat time. If you ever get stuck in Zelda 2, plug in a second controller, push pause on the first controller, and push up and A, and you'll actually get to the save screen. Which that saved my ass, because I would have lost so much time. The funny thing is, I actually got through this game without getting the life spell the first time I beat it. Don't ask me how. Yeah, it's easy to miss stuff, but it's still a very enjoyable game. It's one that encourages exploration, much as the original Zelda did, which I can only speculate on because I've never played it. But yeah, this game is a lot of fun. It's not perfect by any means. It's extremely cryptic. However, I'm gonna say that it's not difficult. In so much as it's not overly difficult. You can get... It's an RPG! Just power level, you lazy people! Don't try to run through Death Mountain. Go to this... I always thought that Swamp Temple was next. Why are all these facts telling you to go to Death Mountain? So you can get the health spell? Is that why? I don't know. I don't know. I will tell you, though, that it is probably a hated gem. It does deserve some of the hate it's gotten. It doesn't deserve all the hate it's gotten, but Zelda 2 is an amazing game if you know how to play it before you start it. If you're trying to play it for the first time, yeah, I can understand if you've only played other Zeldas. Yeah, it could frustrate you, but it's a great game. Give it a shot. So Zelda 2, gem. Or a hated gem. But yeah, definitely great.